April 1917, Vimy Ridge, France. The earth trembled as another British shell tore through the sky, exploding into the German defenses atop the ridge. Major Jonathan Williams of the United States Army stood in a waterlogged observation post. His boots sank into the heavy French mud as he peered through field glasses, watching the assault unfold. Washington had sent him to witness and learn from Europe's seasoned armies. What he saw that morning chilled him, but not in the way his superiors might have imagined. British soldiers climbed from their trenches once more. Williams tallied the men as they surged toward German lines. Hundreds, perhaps 1,000. They moved in disciplined formations across open ground, exactly as the manuals prescribed. Then came the German machine guns. 3 seconds later, the first wave dropped, sliced down like grain beneath a scythe. The noise followed, a relentless, rattling crescendo. Within 5 minutes, it was over. The survivors limped back, carrying the wounded. The rest lay motionless, trapped in mud between the lines. Beside Williams, a British captain stared blankly, exhaustion etched into his face. He had witnessed this too many times. "That's Vimy Ridge," the captain said, lighting a cigarette with trembling hands. "We've tried since 1914. The French lost 70,000 men, one attempt. We've lost 80,000 more. The Germans have turned this ridge into a fortress. 7 miles of tunnels, concrete bunkers, machine guns every 50 yards. From up there, they see everything. Every attack we mount, they anticipate." Williams lowered his field glasses, jotting notes. 150,000 casualties, 2.5 years of failed assaults. The numbers were staggering. Back in America, generals were planning to deploy U.S. troops to France, and they would need to learn from the British and French. But what could be learned here? How to march in straight lines? To die bravely? The captain gestured toward the ridge. "See those positions? The Germans reinforce after every assault, stronger now than in 1914. General Neville says the only way to take it is to field enough men that losing half still leaves us holding ground. He calls that acceptable losses. Me? I find none of it acceptable." That afternoon, Williams met with the French commanders. General Robert Neville sat behind a massive wooden desk, maps spread before him. A massive spring offensive was underway, and Vimy Ridge was marked in bold red on every chart. "The ridge cannot fall," Neville said in heavily accented English. "Not without losses beyond our means. We've tried everything. Days of heavy bombardments, gas attacks, night raids, diversions. Nothing works. Germans are entrenched. The position is too formidable." Williams asked the question that had gnawed at him all morning. "What about trying something different, a new approach?" Neville smiled, but without warmth. "Major Williams, this is not your Indian wars. This is modern warfare. Europe's finest minds are tackling this. British marshals, French generals. Every known tactic has been attempted. If another way existed, we would have found it." Yet Williams had overheard rumors that morning, whispers of a unit who trained differently, who questioned conventional wisdom. They were the Canadian Corps, colonials from across the Atlantic, farmers, lumberjacks, fresh to battle when they arrived in France. Europeans dismissed them as amateurs, lacking discipline, asking too many questions. Williams requested access to the Canadian trenches. What he saw amazed him. The Canadian lines were distinct, orderly, efficient. Soldiers studied maps, debated tactics, like officers, not mere infantry. Unlike British or French armies, where rank and file were not trusted with details, these men prepared with knowledge. Lieutenant General Arthur Currie introduced himself. Tall, solid, his face round and unexpectedly gentle. Before the war, a real estate salesman from Victoria, British Columbia. No European military training, learned everything from books and experience. The British High Command thought him a civilian pretending to be a soldier. Williams asked about Vimy Ridge. Every commander had warned the ridge was a trap, impossible without massive loss. Currie gazed at the distant heights. "Major Williams, those who failed at Vimy followed identical plans, repeated the same tactics, expecting different outcomes. That is madness. If we attack as they did, we will fail like they did. We will not attack that way." Williams waited. "And then, how will you attack it?" Currie met his eyes steadily. We will take Vimy Ridge, and we will do it differently. The plan began in an unusual place. Behind Canadian lines, a precise replica of Vimy Ridge emerged. Wood, tape, stakes, every trench, bunker, machine gun, to scale. 1 inch on the replica equaled 1 inch on the ridge 7 miles away. It took 3 weeks, covered 2 acres. In the cold March rain, Williams watched Canadian soldiers move through the mock battlefield. Not walking, rehearsing. A sergeant blew a whistle. They advanced exactly 100 yards, paused, took cover. 3 minutes later, another whistle, another 100 yards. Every soldier memorized their path. What shocked Williams, every man carried maps, detailed maps, every officer's plan, for all soldiers, not just elites. Privates who had been farmers studied positions like generals. They knew German strongpoints, artillery ranges, protocols if officers fell. Corporal James McCarthy displayed his map. Here, sir, a German machine gun nest. Artillery hits 6:13 a.m. We move at 6:14. If the gun fires, I go left. If my sergeant falls, I command. If I am hit, Private Henderson knows what to do. Everyone knows the plan. Williams had never seen corporals speak like this. In America, corporals follow orders. They don't study or decide, he said. McCarthy smiled. General Curry says thinking soldiers win, blind soldiers die. He wants us to understand why, not just obey. This training demanded time and resources the Canadians barely had. British command was frustrated, impatient. A general visited Curry in late March, pressing why the assault was delayed. Curry stood firm. The French lost 70,000 men here. I will not send unprepared soldiers. Every man must know the plan, every detail. Perfect. The British general shook his head. You colonials do not grasp modern warfare. Soldiers follow orders, show bravery. That wins wars. Curry had an ally, Field Marshal Julian Byng. Byng had commanded Canadians before Curry, trusted their unorthodox approach. Let them do it their way, he said. They haven't failed yet. While infantry trained, Curry orchestrated artillery. 983 guns, all sizes, precisely aimed. Distance, wind, powder, all calculated. The plan? A creeping barrage. Artillery advanced ahead of infantry, 100 yards every 3 minutes. Proper timing kept soldiers behind a wall of fire. Any error could be fatal. April 9th, cold, dark, 5:30 a.m. Canadians took jumping off positions. Snow and sleet blanketed the ground. Williams shivered. 5:38. Guns opened fire. 983 guns, simultaneous. Earth shook, sky flashed, deafening roar. 6:05. Whistles blew. Canadians climbed out, following the practiced pace, 100 yards behind shells. Organized, precise, the battle had begun. By noon, the impossible occurred. Canadians stood atop Vimy Ridge, German rear positions below. Williams ascended the muddy slope, trenches filled with rain, shattered trees pointing skyward. A Canadian lieutenant colonel set up command in a captured bunker. Mud-streaked, exhausted, we took the ridge. Hill 145 fell 7:30, the Pimple at noon, now holding ground. Numbers spoke, 4,000 Canadian casualties, but 150,000 had died trying the same ground. 3 days, where others failed for years. German prisoners were marched down, stunned, defeated. One officer admitted, "We knew, reinforced every position, machine guns, mortars, everything. But your artillery never ceased. Your men advanced through smoke, knew where to go, stayed calm under fire. We fought British and French for 3 years. Canadians are different, machines." A young private said to a corporal, "We fear no one like we fear Canadians." Word spread. They became shock troops, deployed in the hardest battles. American lessons were hard. U.S. troops arrived late 1917, relied on bravery over preparation. At Belleau Wood, June 1918, Marines charged in waves, 9,000 lost. Courage alone could not replace training. Williams returned home, bringing lessons beyond reports: leadership, strategy, empowering soldiers with battlefield knowledge. He taught American officers Canadian methods: preparation, maps, coordination, initiative. Vimy Ridge became a symbol, not just victory, but the demand for intelligence, discipline, execution. A monument to innovation, courage, sacrifice, shaping military thought for generations. Williams understood why Germans feared Canadians: not artillery, not bayonets, precise planning, initiative, relentless execution. Vimy Ridge, from slaughter to triumph, through preparation, strategy, disciplined courage.